Hello guys, my name is Hyunju. This video is presented on my first blog post. The blog is created to share the information and experience about information technology, and the blog will include her process about how to deploy the web application using Docker with AWS. Through this video, we're gonna learn about what is the Docker and definition of Docker. And also we're gonna look over the meaning of the image and container, Docker architecture and pros and cons. And second context is what is the CI and CD, what is DevOps and difference between Agile, CI/CD and DevOps. So Docker is a virtualization technology that works with containers and a set of the platform as a service product that use OS level virtualization to deliver software in packages called container. Unlike virtual machine, the Docker uses a less intensive strategy than parallel virtualization, and it doesn't virtualize the entire operating system. Instead of, they employ a container and which are isolated virtual spaces supplied by the Linux kernel. For the Docker image is a file after installing necessary programs, library, and sources, and user can upload the image created in this way to the repository and receive other images posted on the repository, and user can receive the image after running on the Docker. A Docker container is a virtualized runtime environment where users can isolate applications from the underlying system. It all starts with a script of instructions that define how to build a specific Docker image. The script is called Dockerfile, and the file automatically executes the outline commands and create a Docker image. The command for creating an image from Dockerfile is docker build. The image is then used as a template, which a developer can copy and use it to run an application. The application needs an isolated environment in which to run a container, and this environment is not just the virtual space, it's entirely relies on the image they created. And the source code and files, dependencies, and binary libraries, which are all found in the Docker image, are the ones that make up the container. So to create a container layer from an image, use the command docker create. Finally, after user have to run the container from an existing image, user can start each service and run the application. Docker uses a client-server architecture, and the Docker client talks to the Docker daemon, and which does the heavy lifting of building, running, and distributing your Docker container. And the Docker client and daemon can run on the same system, or user can connect a Docker client to a remote Docker daemon. The Docker client and daemon communicate using a REST API over the Unix socket or a network interface. And another Docker client is Docker Compose that lets you work with the applications consisting of a set of the container. The advantage of using Docker is rapid application deployment. It means it spends minimal time and capability installing and using application. And secondly, the application portability across machines. Since the applications and installation files exist in one container, they can be used as long as they can run on a Docker regardless of the host's kernel or platform version. And version control and component reuse means the container version control is easy and change can be checked, and rollback is simple because components are reused in the previous layer. The Docker can be made light. And lastly, the simplified maintenance means it's easy to maintain the problem with application dependencies. The disadvantage of using a Docker is early development overhead. It means developers who are new to Docker are more likely to experience trial and error when setting up an early environment. There could be complaints within a team, so especially for small projects, it's necessary to increase the use of Dockers. And lastly, the Linux friendly. It means if user wanted to get a new Docker right, and user need to use in the Docker in a Linux based OS. CI is simply a build and test automation process. CI stands for continuous integration, an automation process for developers. Successful implementation of CI helped address the potential conflicts between multiple developers working with code related to application development. As new code changes to application are built and tested regularly and integrated into a shared and repository. The execution of continuous integration begins with a regular commitment to change to the source and version management system to provide the same foundation of work for everyone. So each commit has a build and a series of automatic tests to check behavior and ensure that no changes are causing the problems. So continuous integration is beneficial in itself, but it's also the first step in implementing a CI/CD pipeline. CD is simply a deployment automation process, and CD stands for continuous delivery or continuous deployment. Both terms are used in technology, and both meaning refer to automation for additional step in a pipeline, but they are sometimes used separately to describe how much automation is taking place. Continuous deployment brings the DevOps approach of automating building, tests, and deployment steps to the logical limit. If a code change passes all previous steps in the pipeline successfully, the change is automatically distributed to the production without manual intervention, and adopting continuous deployment enables users to deliver new capability as quickly as possible without compromising and quality. So continuous deployment is also based on mature and problem stage of continuous integration and continuous delivery. Simple code change are regularly committed to the master, promoted to variety of pre-production environments through the automated build and test processes, and eventually the deployed if no problem and found deploying of powerful and reliable automated deployment pipeline makes multiple release on no-brainers. DevOps is a set of practices that combine software development and IT operations. It aims to shorten the system development lifecycle and provide continuous delivery with high software quality. DevOps is complementary with agile software development, and several DevOps aspects came from the Agile methodology. So in general, in the past, development and operation organization were separately, and the work itself was also divided. The process of notifying the development organization of problems that occurs during the operation of the system, and the development organization corrects and reflects them again in the operating environment, and transferring them to the operating organization is inefficient just by reasoning. The communication costs incurred here are significant. So DevOps philosophy is to automate sections across the development, testing, and operations to minimize deployment cycle and standardize and development tool and environment to reduce communication costs. So what is the differences between Agile, CI/CD, and DevOps? A single tool cannot be used to construct a house. With one, user won't be able to empower users' development practice. So Agile, DevOps, and CI/CD are three separate tools, each with its own set of benefits. So the outcome are revaluations when development organizations use all three for their intended goal. So Agile emphasizes the practice that emphasizes change while speeding up delivery, and CI/CD emphasizes tool that priorities automation and focuses on software-defined lifecycle. And DevOps emphasizes the role that priorities responsibilities and focuses on the culture. Through this first blog post, we can have the opportunity to identify and share Docker's concept and basic theories. And Docker is not an easy technology for beginners, but I think it's a must for IT majors, especially those who dream of being a full-stack developer. And in the following post, I will discuss a series of processes for deploying using Docker, as well as the command and AWS used to deploy Docker. So thank you for watching this video. Please look over the blog post. Thank you so much. Bye.